So you join us out here in the grazing paddock, and as you can see, the annual problem of grazing, high oil grasses and depression of butterfat, which is what our processors are desperate for. So what we need to do is assess the grazing swards by cutting and measuring the NDF and the protein levels, and also assessing the protein of the milk to make sure that we're not losing energy and we're not mobilizing fat on the cows. As you can see, the cows here are in great condition for a grazing group, and the sward here has been tightly managed to get the most effective use out of it. So we take some grazing samples back to the lab to analyse the NDF, the protein and the ME and the sugars of the grass. And one thing with Harper's is that we're able to completely form a bespoke ration to complement these high oil grasses. Okay, so what I wanted to demonstrate is when we talk about high oil diets, we see particularly in spring-summer grazing that all the forages, particularly the grasses, are very, very high in oil content, and you can see that from the richness of the colour of the grass, and it's got that beautiful sheen. But what happens when we put that in the cow's rumen, and I'm going to use this bucket as the cow's rumen. So I've got some TMR here which really describes what we're trying to get across really well. So there's our TMR, beautifully prepared, lovely mix. There's a blend in here, there's some grass silage, there's some molasses in here. The problem is when we've got high RDP diets, we basically coat all of that rumen contents in oil. And as you can see, when I mix this around, you can already see on my fingers, every particle of fibre, every particle of blend, everything that's in that cow's rumen is now covered in oil, as you can see on my hands and on my fingers. Now, some may say that's good because oil's got energy, but the problem is that we're reliant on rumen microbes called cellulitic bacteria, and those cellulitic bacteria are fibre digesters, which is their whole job. They go in, they digest the fibre, they break it down, and therefore we get a true diet fermentation. The problem is that these cellulitic bacteria can digest fibre beautifully, but they can't digest oil. And so, as you can see, my fingers are completely coated in oil, so if I'm a little bacteria trying to get to the fibre source, I can't penetrate the oil, therefore I'm losing out on valuable raw material, which ends up coming out of the back end. And how you identify this in the passageways is when you look at the dung, that we've got unprocessed fibre, but we've also got sort of a sheen to the manure, which is demonstrating that there's lots of RDP, so the undigestible element of the protein, and a very high oil content.